mercy.
I think Mr. Broker is here.
Good morning, Bill. We were waiting on you. Good morning, everyone. Nice to have you this morning for our Chatham Area Transit Authority Board of Directors. I call now the meeting to order, and we need a motion to go ahead. Well, we don't need the motion, but let's do the roll call.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Chairman Lakakis?
Here.
Dr. Thomas?
Here.
Mr. Broker?
Here.
Mr. Dawson?
Here.
Mr. French?
Here.
Mr. Holmes?
Here.
Mr. Mingadall?
Here.
Ms. Osborne?
We had a couple of doctors.
Yeah, I'd like for a motion to excuse her. She has a medical situation, and if someone would make that to excuse her for this meeting.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion on the floor and a second to excuse Mary Osborne. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Thank you. Ms. Stone?
Present.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, the minutes of the last meeting for December the 16th was distributed to all of the members. We'd like a motion on the floor for approval of these minutes, and if there's anyone that has some question about these minutes, please let us know now.
Motion for approval.
Second. Have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the minutes of December the 16th. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, the St. Patrick's Day service for 2015. Chad?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staff is requesting board approval for participation in St. Patrick's Day activities, including shuttle services. This year we're proposing to provide shuttle services from Savannah Mall, Westside Shopping Center, Island Town Center. The round trip services will be $5 for all three shuttles. In addition, we'd extend the services for the Savannah Falls Ferry from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. With the cost of that being covered with a subsequent agreement with the Trade Authority in the City of Savannah on any additional costs associated with the operation of the ferry operation.
Any
Chad, approximately how many of those ads are being simulated throughout the hotel and motel?
The ads?
The information that you circulate on.
I don't have the details in terms of what's been. I don't think anything's been circulated to date.
Yeah.
Right.
But approximately how many would it be?
We certainly hit all the hotels downtown, but we will coordinate with the city, because this is the way we worked this in the past is that we have used this with a subsidy agreement to the city, where the city subsidized any losses can't sustain in terms of the shuttle or ferry operation. And then we will work along with the city in terms of their advertising and promotion. So the city really takes the lead in terms of how it's promoted.
Can I ask you a question real quickly? About how many people do you think will be transporting? I mean, traditionally, how many folks on the buses alone?
It varies. Last year obviously wasn't a very good year, but given that it was a Tuesday, it was rainy and cold. However, the two previous years were record years. So it varies in terms, but it's certainly one of our, if not our highest ridership day, once you compare our fixed route service as well as our shuttle services. So we're usually in the neighborhood around 20,000 or so.
Yeah. Well, I hope we'll really be able to use this, as a marketing opportunity, because there are going to be so many folks on the bus. This is the only time they ride it all year long. So whatever we can do to make people aware of the quality of the service, or its frequency, or its availability, those kinds of things would be a real bonus for us if we could use this opportunity for that.
Priscilla?
I'd like to piggyback on that. I think that would be a great opportunity for us to help facilitate the marketing segment of it and to outreach to as many people as possible. It's just something that I think is just good public relations that we need to do.
I mean, just doing it in and of itself is that.
Yes.
But you know, you can build on that too.
Yes.
And that's really important because there were some, like in 12 and 13, we did have some marketing, some advertising on it, and I know one of the TV stations put that out, and they did it several times so that people would not be sort of stalled right there in the downtown area and not have transportation, you know, and they thinking about it. Because one of the things that we want to do too is that do this situation where park your car and ride the bus, because then you go or have somebody else to pick you up at a certain area so that they won't, those that are inviting won't have to have a problem with that situation.
Just thinking along the same line with Pooler and Port Wentworth in these areas we would like to expand, is there any thought to putting a shuttle out in that end of the area?
We could look at it. Usually, at least in the past year, some private trolley companies have been providing the services from out of the Pooler area that we know about, and the private companies have been providing in Garden City as well. So we know that the trolley companies are heavily involved with some of those transportation options from the outlying areas. So, but we can certainly look at it and explore as we begin to put the plan together. And we can certainly make that as part of the motion. Whoever makes the motion, that we can have staff look at that with us.
I don't know if the volume out there would support the operation, but it might just be something to look at.
But would we be able to do it? I mean, can we go outside the...
We would, as long as it's able to pay for itself, which would be what some of the issues are associated with. But we can certainly look at it.
Are the malls really maximizing this in terms of trying to get more traffic in there? If people park there, they may also do a little shopping on the way back. So we're not getting the buy-in from them?
Well, I think it may be different now since the mall is under new management at Savannah Mall. I know with the previous mall management there were some difficulties with it. So we'll certainly take a look at it in terms of how we will enhance it, because we have a better relationship with the new mall management, given that we're about to invest heavily in some of the infrastructure that goes into place out there. So I think there's a real relationship building with and I think as you look at some of our advertising, we have an advertising agreement with Savannah Mall now. So I think we're beginning to see some growth in the area.
And Philip now, for many, many years, he was the director for Oglethorpe Mall, and then they changed, and he went over there and grabbed him right away at Savannah Mall. And he's an individual that's very positive about things, and so that's good that you have that relationship with him now. Okay, we need a motion on the floor for the St. Patrick's Day service.
I'll move to approve with the recommendation that staff consider the west side options.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the service for the St. Patrick's Day parade area. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, under action items, heavy duty vehicle lift purchase.
Budget calendar adoption. Budget calendar.
And that's going to be, okay, the budget calendar adoption that was distributed to everybody.
The staff is requesting the board approve the fiscal year 2015-16 budget adoption and millage levy calendar as set forth in the parameters below. Basically, board workshop will occur February 22nd. Recommended budget will be finalized March 23rd. First reading of the budget April 1st. Public hearing will be April 16th. Second reading May 19th, and then the forwarded to the county commission for millage be set June 26th, which is in line with when the county's hoping to have their millage rate set. But if you notice, as in requesting the previous year, we'll have an evening session as part of the budget hearing process.
Any motion for approval?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of item 2 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Now, back to the heavy-duty vehicle lift purchase.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staff is requesting the board approve the purchase of heavy-duty vehicle lifts with stands in our bus maintenance department. Currently, our vehicle lifts have met their useful life and are for retirement, particularly for safety reasons. So staff is requesting 2 heavy-duty vehicle lifts plus 6 stands, high lift stands, 6 medium duty stands. The total amount of the vehicle equipment would be $81,700. The project will be funded 80% from FTA, 20% from local match.
I don't have a question about that. I'm sorry. If you want to finish with that, I need to back
Yeah.
up a second
Any,
to this workshop.
Any questions on the vehicle lift? Any questions?
So, are these, what do we do with the vehicle lifts that we're replacing? What do you do with the vehicle lifts that you're replacing?
We would auction.
Okay.
So they parted out?
Yes.
The new lifts, Dr. Reese, are freestanding, or do you have to install them?
No,
anyway?
we have moved to independent freestanding lifts. They're the lifts that we move around, portable lifts, and the reason we do it along with stands is because we can now jack the bus up, and then we can let the bus rest on the stands and then move the lifts to other places. We moved away from the in-floor lifts for a couple of reasons. One is the cost associated with it. Second one is the environmental reason and the maintenance associated with the hydraulics. With the hydraulic lifts, you have the whole issue of loss of pressure and dropping of 6 to 8 inches with the loss of pressure, which has led to a number of industrial accidents around the country. I've actually experienced one at one of my previous locations. So for the past decade or so, I've used exclusively portable above ground lifts.
Okay, any other questions? You wanted to go back to something,
I
but
just-
maybe we should get the vote on this one first.
Get the vote on that. And then
Yeah.
I move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor and approval to purchase a heavy-duty vehicle for the lift. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Go ahead, Helen.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, the only thing that I was gonna point out on the calendar, the board workshop should read, according to my calendar, February 21st, which is a Saturday, not the 22nd, which is a Sunday.
First.
To what?
21st.
February 21st for the board workshop, and not the 22nd, because the 22nd is a Sunday. Then we have to amend the motion. Okay, then, Mr. Chairman, since I made the motion, I will amend the motion to reflect that the board workshop will be February 21st rather than February the 27th.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second, to correct that for the 21st of February. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, the presentation. A presentation on CAT's marketing and business development.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a follow-up to a previous board meeting, staff has marketing and business development made a presentation to the System Development Committee that we'd like to give to the entire board in terms of the efforts of CAT's Marketing and Business Development Program. And this time I'd like to introduce Ramon Robinson and Shalonda Roundtree, our Marketing and Business Development Manager, to the presentation on what we're looking at marketing.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So, I'm really, for the first time, I'm not going to have a whole lot to say. I'm actually going to pass this off to Shalonda, but one of the things that we did want to do is to kind of update the board on our year in review and just kind of looking ahead based on what our marketing and business development practices are. As Dr. Reese stated, some of the members in the System Development Committee have seen this presentation that we've kind of altered a little bit. Some of the highlights to point out that you'll see in regards to our year in review is that with our marketing, we also are looking for ways to generate additional revenue to bring to the organization. So in the last year, just kind of based on our ability to reach out to some of the businesses and a higher percentage that we've done in previous years, we are actually seeing a little bit of increases in the amount of revenues that we're bringing in, which I believe was kind of pointed out by Terry Harrison, the CFO, at the last board meeting. So just kind of an overview review. What are our objectives? Improving our image, increasing our strategic partnerships, enhancing our passenger information, and developing and promoting target ridership programs. All of those things in the last year, which you'll see in this presentation, as Shalonda will go through it, you'll see that we have been able to achieve, particularly with the improving our image and increasing our strategic partnerships. One of the things I wanted to point out that the board has yet to see is that Chatham Area Transit has been able to engage Savannah Economic Development Association with something very small and minute but has a very big outcome, which is for the first time we have our data on their website. So for those that know exactly what Savannah Economic Development Association does, when it comes to businesses actually wanting to relocate here, there are two things that they're specifically looking for. What's the educational attainment of the area in which we seek to move our business, because we need workers, and then how close are we to transit, because we need workers. So those two things are heavily weighed. In addition to that, helps us to improve our image, because now not only is CAT singing its own praises, you now got Savannah Economic Development Association, Savannah Chamber, Savannah Mall, Savannah Chatham Public Schools are now, we're looking at these ways to enhance our passenger information as well as promote and target more ridership programs. So we're essentially building relationships with the community, and we're supporting CAT, but as the notion of the Making Connections plan said, our business is about making your business better. So what you'll see is that over the course of the last 2 years, we've actually engaged in that pretty heavily, and we're seeing some of the benefits of that. So here are our objectives. These objectives are not new to you guys. These are the objectives that you actually helped us to cultivate with the Making Connections plan. We want to improve our ridership. We want to unify the system. We want to establish a brand, strengthen communities, increase ridership. We want to target commuter markets, college markets, local worker markets, the disabled community markets, low-income family markets, and also we want to take advantage of special events that do take place, such as St. Patrick's Day. What are our responsibilities? Our responsibilities are as follows. We haven't changed that at all. Public outreach and education, I'll touch on that one primarily because one of the biggest things that we heard, and this is more so from the community outreach point of view and not a marketing point of view, is that we need to see more of CAT. Where are you? Are you having meetings? So we took the approach that instead of making meetings a guessing game, we have meetings every month at the same time, at the same date. So there's no miscommunication there about when we're going to have meetings, and we get information from people, and we've utilized internal and external communications to get this information out to people, from TV releases, print ads in the newspaper, to things as simple as putting handouts in the buses. So these are our responsibilities as it relates to our community outreach that we've been able to do, and again, we're seeing benefits coming from that. So one of the questions that we heard at the last public meeting was, you guys have meetings every month. Why do we come to meetings every month? Well, that was an easy response, because when there are changes that you want to see made, or there are things that you want to bring to our attention, this is the place where you come to voice that. And not only do you come to voice those opinions here, but you also get information facilitated to you firsthand by the staff. So I'm just going to go through this kind of quickly, and then I'm going to pass this over to Shalonda. What are the key objectives for fiscal year 2015? Well, of course, CAT wants to increase its ridership and promote us as a premier transit agency within the southern region, particularly within the state of Georgia, which I think we have been able to do. Increasing ridership is key to us because, as you can see with the reports that we provide you with for the last 6 months, we have been sustaining our ridership, not only from anything changing our service footprint, but keeping the ridership constant, and also in some cases increasing the ridership. That speaks directly to our marketing efforts as well as our service development efforts and our operational improvements. Evaluate and revise our passenger information and communication. One of the things that nobody can say about CAT that they probably haven't been able to say for the last 3 years is that you don't know about something, you haven't seen something, you haven't seen us somewhere, we haven't been at a meeting. We've gotten to the point now where it's like, hey, you go to meetings and people are like, well, there's always a CAT person here. You're absolutely right, because our goal is, our business is to help make your business better. So we've taken that approach to make sure that we're constantly in the community, but also we're in the business community. We're doing business with the marina. We're doing business with the West. We have the West Side businesses that are actually seeking us out to do business with us. So when you start to think about how is the business development and marketing progressing, it's progressing pretty well. Our increase to promote the use of passes. We do want to promote the use of more passes for the mere fact that it has operational benefits in addition to the benefits that it actually has for the passengers. So those are the things that we want to definitely try to focus on. That's going to take cooperation not only with the community at large, but it's going to take for us to be able to bring information to the CAT board and give you the information to make informed decisions as it relates to different processes and trying to promote the use of more CAT passes. Improve our internal communication. Again, we probably talk to the public more than we've talked to the public before, but we probably talk to each other more than we talk to each other internally before as well. I think that we've probably overloaded the CAT board with enough information over the last 2 years to know that I sit here and I talk, and sometimes you guys look at me like, God, I wish he would just shut up.
Okay.
That would be.
Also, increasing our CAT business partnerships. Again, we've got Savannah State as a partner. We have branched out to not only us engaging into some of the college partners here, but the college partners now coming to us because they see the benefits in what mobility management does and how it helps their business, and our business is helping their business. And then last but not least, we've established the Business Advisory Committee, whose sole purpose should definitely help the CAT board in getting information up front so that business decisions as it relates to increasing and promoting CAT, increasing ridership and promoting CAT as a mobility manager, and increasing the awareness within the community are going to be staples to help carry CAT into the next phase. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Shalonda Roundtree, who's actually the brainchild and the workhorse behind this whole thing.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I can.
I'm just going to move over here. What we have here is just a list of some of the examples of some of the things that we actually do here, just in case you're not familiar with a lot of our responsibilities. And the marketing team consists of, Ramon is certainly our leader. We have me, marketing business development. We have Catherine Badish, she's our communications coordinator, and also Valerie Ragland, who you're very familiar with, who certainly with her expertise and her wisdom and knowledge has really helped us bring a lot of this together. But just as a recap, some of the things that we are familiar with are listed here: website, ride guides, system map, brochures, passenger information, social media posters, bus stop signs. Certainly we're going to be doing some how to ride videos and passenger tools. We'll work with IT on that. So that's just kind of a recap of some of the things that we're responsible for doing in marketing and business development.
Can I ask you, do you want to ask a question? So where are you on the apps for the passenger IT?
I can answer that. So where we are with the apps is, right now with the apps, we have the application in the pilot testing phase. We have it in the pilot testing phase because our data, the same data that we send to Google, which is a third-party provider, is being transferred to Indra, who is our ITS provider. So what they're in the process of doing now is making sure that all of the data that we sent them actually works. And that sounds very simple. It sounds like a kind of a point and you click and it goes through. Well, for one route, there are probably 200,000, 500,000 different data points that are associated that have to match up. Everything has to match. If it doesn't match, it doesn't work. So right now they're gleaning through our 1920 route system at 500,000 data points, and they're making sure that they all match. We hope within the next month or so that they'll be finished with gleaning that data, and then we will be able to release the pilot live. We don't want to release the pilot until we are clear and surely certain that the data is going to be correct, because this is going to be a huge undertaking not only for CAT but for the community. And this is also going to be a point to where we're able to market. So we want to make sure we're marketing clean, safe, reliable, not only from our operational aspects, our planning aspects, but from our technical aspects as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's imperative that the thing work.
Right.
You know, so I appreciate your testing and making sure that you know, the integrity of the system is good. It's just taken a long time.
It's a lot of data.
Yeah, but I mean, we've been working on this for how long? I mean, years. You know, and I understand that, and I don't. But I'm really looking forward to it when it finally rolls off the line.
But you gotta realize,
Go ahead.
you gotta realize, even though we have been working on it for years, we were working with the different dynamics of personnel. So now we do, I'm not saying that all of that was bad, but they did set the stage for some things. Now that we have people who really understand the dynamics of what teamwork means, what marketing means, how you have to communicate and get out there in the community. The entire community has to be involved. As I, along with others, we go out to our community meetings and we meet with our constituents, and we're talking about CAT and how important it is, you know, for all of us to be engaged with the bus system. So yes, it may be taking a long time, but I mean, if I've waited for all those, I won't tell you how many years, I can, you know, still wait a few more to make sure that we got it just right and that everyone is engaged, that should be engaged, and that we're moving in the right direction. That's my personal feeling, you know.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Also for this, these are just a few examples of some of the things that we did. For the CAT bike, we have King ads on a few of the buses, on 4 buses. We have created this year our CAT bike brochure, and we also have advertised in several publications, and that being one, Our Savannah was a publication that we also advertised in this year. And what we did that was strategic about this ad, which we're trying to do in a lot of our ads, is we're putting a code in it so that we can really measure the effectiveness of it, whether we should do it again. So the code, if someone reads the ad and they actually use the code at the CAT bike, we can kind of measure that a little better instead of just advertising in different publications and not knowing our return on investment. So we think that that's really important to kind of capture those numbers, just to know whether things are really working or if they're not, or if we need to just kind of improve on those.
Can I just ask one more quick? I don't quite understand that.
Yes, like for instance on this ad, it has a validation code. So if someone sees the ad,
See the promo code, it says 0101.
right,
Okay.
they're able to use that just so that we can kind of measure, have measurable results of some of the things that we're trying to advertise, some of the publications that we're advertising in.
Oh, so you get a discount. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Okay, yeah, good. Makes sense.
For Airport Express, we developed a rec card. We are updating it right now. So that is one of the many things that we've done to kind of promote Airport Express. Additionally, this summer, we incorporated the use of Chatham County Youth Commission students this summer, and they actually went around to all of the local downtown hotels, and they passed out brochures and rat cards to any hotels that did not have it, and that was a great partnership with Van Johnson. He really helped us a lot with that, and they really got out in the community. They were able to talk to some of the concierge, some of the general managers, and they had no problem with them passing it out, so that worked really well. We love that partnership. St. Patrick's Day, we just completed talking about that, and these were just some of the examples of last year of things that we did to advertise. We advertised in the Savannah Morning News, so these are just a few of the examples. We had banner ads, so we did digital advertising. We advertised in the St. Patrick's Day magazine that comes out every year, and this was the ad that we had for the, I think it advertised 3 times in the Savannah Morning News. So we did get the word out there, and we also make sure, that hotels knew about it, and everyone. We just really tried to saturate the market with just promoting the Catch a Cat for St. Patrick's Day. Our Summer Youth Pass, again, here are just a few examples of ways that we advertise. We did billboards. We had an electronic billboard on Abercorn Street this summer to promote that. We had interior bus cars, so interior bus cars were placed on all of the buses to promote it, and also we had print ads. In addition, we worked with the Savannah Chatham County Public Schools so that they can kind of get the word out, and they did that. They sent out information to all of the local schools promoting the Summer Youth Pass, and we hope to do that again this year. Dump the Pump. This was another example of something that we did. We created this advertisement just to kind of measure, instead of just giving everyone a free ride, we want to kind of make people just kind of work for a little bit and understand that, we're investing in this, but it's more to it than just giving them a free ride. We want them to understand the importance of dumping the pump, or trading your car for transit on that day. So this is what we advertised in the Savannah Morning News this year. Fireworks shuttle for 4th of July. We advertised on Abercorn again. We did a digital billboard, and that's an actual example of the digital billboard. In addition, we advertised in the Savannah Morning News also. It's the same ad, but we promoted it 3 times in the Savannah Morning News. And as you may be aware, that was in a short time, that was a very successful special event show. So we hope to do that again this year. This is just a promotion of our partnership with Savannah State and promoting our U-Pass program with them. We are just kind of getting the word out. We did a direct mailer just to kind of let people know. What we really tried to do is focus on people in that part in Whitmarsh, in the Wilmington Islands, kind of get them involved in it. And it worked out really well. We have gotten a lot of interest in our U-Pass program, not particularly from Savannah State students who are familiar with that, but from our target market. Those were people that we were trying to reach out to, apartment communities and residents who didn't know about it. So even some people who received those, they contacted us to find out how that would work for their business or what U-Pass was. So that, to me, was a very successful project that we did.
And I think we had a significant increase in ridership on the Prowler.
Yes, we have. It has increased, so that's an effective marketing. Yes.
If I may, did you reach out to the apartment association?
We did. Well, not the apartment association, but we did have those mailers went out to every apartment, every business on the island. So I did not reach out to a specific apartment association.
I'll be glad to get you that contact information, because that way it can filter down through the managers in that area.
Thank you. Here's another example that we advertised in South Magazine this past year in promoting the cat bite. And on this magazine, we also had a promo code just to kind of measure how effective that advertising is. So those were the 2 publications and the sticker. This particular publication went to all of the hotels. So it stays in the hotels for, I think they said, at least 3 to 4 months before they change it out. But we thought that this was a really good advertisement. And of course, our wonderful executive staff that we use for our print ad, again in South Magazine. This just to kind of highlight CAT and our executives, just to kind of show just what they're doing, just kind of improving our image and showing that we are we're to be reckoned with. You know, CAT is improving, we're doing good things, and we want just to kind of highlight that. So that was an example of the print ad that we did. For Election Day, this was an example, if you did not see it, that we did to market the Ride Free on Election Day. So this went to, it was in all the Savannah Morning News. I think we ran it twice in Savannah Morning News. We placed it on our website. We did social media, so we promoted it. And we also had it placed on all of the buses. We printed it so that, you know, our riders can actually see it. Those who are not reading, not looking at social media or our website, we made sure that it was placed on all of the buses to promote that. One of our recent things that we have completed was our trying to promote our employee or our U-Pass program, our partnership. So we've recently created this ad, and it was done for our business event that we participated in with the chamber this year. And it promotes our CAT Employer Pass program. We didn't have anything prior to that, so we wanted to be able to, if we're going to go out and promote to businesses, we actually needed some marketing materials to use to promote. So this is what we created. You see the display on your right, and we also had red cards. That's what you see on your left. And we had those printed, and we distributed that at the Savannah Chamber event, the Business Expos. What you have here is an example of something that we recently did. I think Kat has an example of it. For the 2015 Chamber event, magazine, we have advertised in this, and that's going around just to kind of promote our Cat Bike partnership, just our program. We think that it's been really successful, but if we just really saturate the market and make sure that people are aware of it, we can't ever get enough of marketing to do that. So that's in the 2015 Chamber, and that's being distributed right now. So that will last all year, and we think that's really good. So that's going around for anyone to take a look at. Some of our current projects that we wanted to highlight, certainly Mr. Robinson went through this, increase CAT sales locations. We have personally reached out to Kroger, Manhattan Square, Walgreens, and CVS. I created a business pass program just so that they can know more about our sales. You know, our sales. We're not really doing that, so we thought that would be a great opportunity to try to increase revenue by promoting sales. So what you have on here is an example of what actually went out, the proposal that went out to those locations. And I have recently communicated with them, and they are interested in speaking with me in person. So we hope to at least sign those 3 businesses up for CAT sales. Also, we're working with the City of Savannah to promote the Late Night Liberty Shuttle. Example of what we have on the website is up at your upper right. We're going to be promoting our Cash to Pass campaign, and that's just to kind of sway people from using cash to start using our passes that we have. We're going to be rebranding a U-Pass program just so that we can actually have a logo to go with it when we're promoting it. We're improving our rider tools, update website, increase social media, and continuing expanding the use of technology. We're going to begin early marketing the Summer Pass program. We think that can be effective as long as we get the word out. So we're going to look at every opportunity, working with outreach to kind of get the word out about that. And digital billboard advertising. Beginning on Friday, we will be promoting the 114X to hopefully get people more aware of the Express Shuttle, and then it will overlap so that we'll be able to advertise the St. Patrick's Day Shuttle. And that digital billboard will be on Abercorn and Eisenhower. For business development, just kind of a recap of some of the businesses that we have reached out to this year. We reached out to Flower Foods, which is Durst Bakery Company, Savannah Tech. They're one of the companies that actually received the mailer, and they were interested in speaking with us. So I've sent a proposal and have been in communication with them about the U-Pass program. Snyder, we have met with them a few times about trying to bring a U-Pass or a van pool program to them. Savannah Law School Academy, proposal went out. We've spoken to them about their interest in a U-Pass program. And the Westin Hotel, they recently became a partner. They purchased 50 passes in September, and just last week they called us for an additional 50. So we're reaching out to them, and we hope to kind of expand that with additional purchasing. And what we just did, this was just done this month, is we created this. It's going to be a direct mail piece. So it's kind of promoting our CAT Employer Pass program, and as kind of a marketing incentive, just for them reaching out to us or contacting us, they will be able to get a free trial offer just to kind of make their employees familiar with CAT if they're not familiar with CAT. So we're hoping that this will create measurable results, because obviously if they contact us, we know that's a business that we can meet with and try to build a partnership with. Yes.
Go ahead.
So, thank you. The 100 passes for the employees at the Westin, says 100 day passes?
Actually, they purchased 100 monthly passes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yes, so they're purchasing it to distribute to their employees.
Yeah.
I am so excited about this, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Helen, we worked on a committee some time back, and when we had the Savannah Day and some of the other activities, we have the various companies such as the Westin that are promoting Savannah, you know, as a destination.
Right.
And so we have asked them to be a little bit more inclusive in terms of transit as they speak with their clientele, so that, you know, we can all be on the same page and not just on the other entities.
Great, well that certainly helps.
So hopefully,
so talk to some more people, because that helped.
Hopefully we'll be able to target some others.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm saying that, because I'm also in that marketing as well. Okay. And so the Westin is one of the, you know, companies that I work with very closely. So I am excited.
Yes, we are too. Great.
So we'll work on a few more.
Okay, sounds good. This is an example of the marketing campaign that APTA has, and we just wanted to provide the 3 examples, and we have incorporated the APTA marketing campaign with CAT. So you'll see that that's on 6 of our buses. We have the King ad. We also have posters that are outside here at the Transit Center. We have it on our website, and we have also interior cars on all of the buses marketing that. So that's just to kind of piggyback off of what APTA did. It's a national campaign, and we think it's very important. So we have really implemented that into CAT marketing. Our Cumulus media trade, which is so important, we use this because this provides us kind of a trade for promoting radio advertising or partnerships. There's a few partnerships that Cumulus has recently, and then they just kind of mentioned CAT as a partner. So it's a really good opportunity for that, just to kind of reach out to the community to show that, you know, that we're partnering. And also a wonderful opportunity to market some of our services. So we use that form of advertising to market our services. The Savannah Streetcar Project, we just wanted to kind of show, last year we debuted this wrap, which was really successful, just to kind of getting people the word out about our streetcar marketing. Our communication coordinator worked with Renaissance Marketing to do that, and that's a wonderful design. And also she's in charge of working on the Savannah Streetcar website. So those just are other examples of ways that we're marketing.
Did we get a significant number of hits on that CAT Connects?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, it's a low average per month. I can look it up and find out after.
I was just curious if you knew right off the top of your head.
Most of the inquiries that we get, or hits that we get, are usually from, it varies from folks that are actually wanting to know about the existing streetcar, and then those that kind of want to know more about the expansion, what are the plans, once they get a chance to look at the illustrative aids, and it kind of shows you kind of what the proposed destination sites are and how will that, you know, affect certain areas. Those are a lot of where the questions come from, and they are few and far between. But in addition to this, a lot of people will oftentimes get the information and just call instead of sending an email. So it's really good as it relates to just a tool for us to have to kind of point to how serious we are about this capital improvement from Chatham area transit station.
And kind of as a related topic, have we made any type of approaches to the Savannah area realtors?
We have not. But we
because,
can.
I mean, in terms of where transportation grows, it kind of piggybacks on that
Okay.
campaign. that,
Okay.
You know, we should make a presentation to them and maybe have some type of relationship with them.
Okay.
Yeah, and what's good, what Wayne was just talking about, is that when they go to sell or rent something, they can say you're on you're on a transportation route that will help you, and that's another, positive for them and us.
This is another highlight of some of the communications that we have with CAT that we're doing just to market internally and externally. We're partnered again with Chatham County Youth Commission. Forgot this summer, in addition to the Airport Express, they passed out online cards that we created, and that was just to kind of promote our social media and our website. So they distributed that here outside at the transit center, and we actually placed them on the buses to different parts of the city. So, like, for instance, they would board here, go to Oglethorpe Mall, Savannah Mall, West Side, and they would actually hand those out. So that was a great partnership. Also, again, with Chatham County Youth Commission. We ran our first social media promos for circus tickets, Dump the Pump, and Election Day. The system map has been updated, and that's very significant because it has not been updated since 2011. We improved the newsletter design with more clickable graphics, and that's so important. I don't know, I think all of you hopefully are subscribers to our newsletter because that has a wealth of information. Catherine is responsible for that, and she puts a lot of work in just making sure that our internal customers, as well, just anyone who subscribes to that is aware of what's going on. Again, with our social media, we have, it's really increased, and we're glad of any increases that we have. The Facebook likes have gone up from 2013, Twitter followers are up, our YouTube subscribers are up, and LinkedIn followers are up. So we're very happy about that. So something is definitely working. Here again is our website. Our website just recently had some updates. Before, with our website, and it maybe not just very simple to the eye, to the average user, but now we have where it's just more accessible. It's just easier to go through, and we're very glad of that. Very proud of that. Here are just some numbers to show that our Catch a Cat visits have increased, and that's just kind of a recap of where we were and where we're going. The mobile use continues to grow. And also in 2014, just kind of a recap, we created online ordering form for CAT passes so that for those organizations or businesses that were ordering bulk passes, we make it easier. Before they were just able to call and order, now we have it where it's all automated. So they can just go online and place their orders, which is really good for them. We created a commuter survey, and we also created for Savannah Chatham County Schools a student info pages so that it just shows different routes and things that students may be interested or their parents may need to know of how the best routes to get to from their destination. So that's really helpful. We also invest in some mobile friendly, so that's another update to our website. Instead, before, if you went to the website on a mobile device, you couldn't really access or it just looked weird. But now it's a mobile friendly design, so that's really good, and we hope that that will increase some of our mobile usage. Here's just kind of a recap from 2015 for our GFI, our total fixed ridership. It was for 2014. We've had a 4% increase from 2013. So we kind of believe that a lot of what we've done in marketing this year has really attributed to that. Just kind of for you to kind of get a visual of where we were and where we are now. And most recently, what we have here are 2 ads that we designed. And this is going to be, or as you see right now, we already have one that's posted at the Savannah Airport in their kiosks. To the left is the original, and to the right. And that's an actual design of how it looks at the airport. So we have 2 kiosks that we will be using to promote the Airport Express and Cat Bike. And you see that one's already, it's the backlit display. So as people are walking through the airport, they'll be able to see Cat Bike marketed, just Cat presence. And we think that's really good, and we hope that increases just our ridership with our Airport Express as well as our Cat Bike program.
Now, let's do this. Go back to the beginning, Raymond. And on there where you started about what was being done about 21, 22 places before, but what it started, how it started, and all of the things that has been done. Go back to that slide a minute.
Okay. Oh, it's loading up. Sorry about that.
Oh, hold it right there. Back it up a minute.
This.
Back it up again. Come back again. Okay. Well, let me just say this because it had a list on that. It's important that we know, because we can see a lot of advertising that was done, which was really good, and all of that. But when you do something in the future, it's a specific thing that you're doing. Say that doing advertising, put the dates on it so that this board can see that the dates on the specific things that that your department is doing, that we have that, and so they know that this has been, this has been accomplished or being done right then. But we should have the dates on those things. Some of these that we saw that you had over there, where you had advertising in the different, whether it was a magazine or with the city or the hotels and all of that, very good and all. But in there, where you just outline when the start of it, and to give us the dates that this was done. Okay. And so that way we can look at it and analyze it and see, because you're doing a code too, and to see what has been effective, because we really need to know what we're doing, what we're spending, and those kind of things to see, what is going to be very effective and positive for CAT. And that way, Sir Honor, we want to make sure that we have all of that information so that individual ones on our board, others that want to ask a question when that was done, so we can see, because what has happened in the last 30, 40 years, the marketing has been really bad. They didn't do anything like you got today, like you've shown all of the board members and all, and it just wasn't effective. They do an ad showing people on the bus, somebody carrying a briefcase, somebody sitting down there going over different materials and things like that, and basically that's what they were doing. They didn't do anything that y'all have done on this, but let us have the dates so we'll know, what was done, and we can see about the ridership, how you had that on that graph, and because it's made a difference, and we just want to do and support this program as best we can with the resources that we have, so that we can get that ridership, continue to get that ridership up, and then we see what is most effective and all. Okay. Yes. Because we're still, what y'all are doing is really, really good, but we're still not getting to enough people right now so that they know about it. A lot of these things that y'all have done, more and more people have seen those and all, but we still got a number of people in our community that haven't been reached for one reason or the other for our transportation.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and thank both of you.
Can I just, I'm sorry, you were first, I think. You go ahead.
I just want to say, be uplifted. You've done a tremendous job, the entire staff. As I said, I think I'm about one of the longest serving commissioner, and I've been through it all. I've seen it all. The information that you have put together has been fantastic, as you've said. I want to continue to do more outreach, get more people involved, know what you have, and just continue building. And for those of us who are on the board, I can only speak for me. I personally talk about CAT, what they're doing, what they're trying to do. They need your participation. They need your involvement. You know various businesses and stuff personally. You can talk to the manager or whomever. They know how important it is. And the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is because they know where we are. They know the people to touch when they want to build Savannah Day and the other things, and bringing businesses here. Now they're talking about the cruises and stuff like that. Had to listen to what I had. You can repeat what I said. If had to listen to me 15 years ago, we would have been well along, in the business, is what I'm trying to say. So what I'm trying to say is that even though there are still things that needs to be done, you have covered so much in such a short time, and just continue to be uplifted and moving in the direction that you're going, and let us all see if we can work to help build a better CAT system. That's all I want to say.
Bill?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think this was a really impressive presentation as well. I really appreciate, all the steps that you've taken. We see a lot of this stuff from time to time, but it's nice to see it all, sort of put together in front of us, and there's a lot of stuff that we've missed. And one of the things you might want to think about, sort of as a backdrop to some of this, is there's this whole new movement called free range children. And there was a lot of discussion in the last couple of weeks in a lot of the newspapers about it, where people are finally, realizing that it's really not that dangerous out there for their children, and they're starting to encourage their children to go outside by themselves, more than they have in the past. And part of that is the utilization of transit. So, I think promoting, I'm not saying this should be your focus or anything like that, but I think in the back of your mind, you should think about parents making decisions about their children getting from one place to another, in a responsible and safe way. And I think CAT, has a reputation as being a safe place. So, that's just a backdrop issue that you might want to be aware of.
Yeah.
Wayne?
And to kind of piggyback on what Bill was saying, I think the Safe Place initiative that we re-undertook has kind of spoken to that free range issue that you talked about. I did have one other issue. With regard to pay, Ramon, I know you talked about increasing passes. Are we looking at kind of the next generation of ways to make payments in terms of Apple, I think it's Apple Pay?
Google
Wallet. Some of these, are we looking at that, or?
I think, I guess I'll start it. I'll let Dr. Reese finish. I think,
He's looking busy.
Very busy.
I think as from a technology standpoint, technology is ever changing. So
Yeah.
I think we are moving along the right path as it relates to putting ourselves in a position to kind of be technologically up to date, and as it relates to past purchases, fare media changes, and the way that we go about our person to pass or our person to fare box interaction. So we do have the technology, kind of some of the foundations of the technology within our existing infrastructure, and it'll be to kind of come back to you all to kind of see where would be the best place to kind of go to maximize our dollars to get us in that position. But I think we are moving in the right direction.
And a huge amount of money in the past by other, but was done by CAT in the past was just an absolute waste of money. And you can see, because we didn't have increase in ridership, all you got to do is go back to the history and look at the documentation that we had here on CAT in that situation, because things have gotten positive. We see things moving along, and like I said, with all of these things that's going in there, but there is other areas that can go, and thankfully we've got this situation going right now that we're going to be spending our money in an area where it wasn't wasted, that we can see the results of it. How about that the public knows we got one of the best transportation systems, and we're going to say transportation in that, because that goes a lot further than just saying the bus system, in that situation there, because businesses, just like you got that businesses contact, and what happens with that, they get involved, they put resources in it, and it means that even though we're not getting anything from the state, but as many business locations as we can get, like JCB and of course Gulfstream and many of the others that we can see with those funds coming in, we can do a lot more, because even adding additional routes and those kind of things. Helen?
I would like to reiterate what's been said so far. I mean, just watching this, being on this board for the last few years, we're better off as far as our relationship to the community, as far as our promoting our product. We're better off financially, so I would like to commend Dr. Reese and his staff for the turnaround that I've seen this ship make on this. So it's very encouraging. I'm not saying we don't still have a ways to go. We've got to constantly be out there, but this is very positive.
Any other questions? Thank you all very much. We really appreciate that.
And we did have one last piece. I don't know if you want to show that or not.
Oh, go ahead. Sure.
So I think this kind of speaks to the culmination of the change within CAT. Try and get it to work. Working earlier. Is it muted? No, it's not muted.
From the Southern Jewel just got easier with our nonstop Airport Express. Travel between downtown and the airport is just $1.50 and gives you the fastest and most affordable way to get in or out of town. Enjoy the sights and enjoy traveling. Chatham Area Transit.
I can play it again with the sound.
Yeah. Thought we raised the fare here.
We did. We're updating this actual.
Savannah. So much to see. And getting around this beautiful city has always been safe and easy by just catching a cat. And now getting to and from the Southern Jewel just got easier with our nonstop Airport Express. Travel between downtown and the airport is just $1.50 and gives you the fastest and most affordable way to get in or out of town. Enjoy the sights and enjoy traveling. Chatham Area Transit.
Good, but remember, when you see that $1.50,
Yes,
put on there where I recommend, and we got it for $5 now, which is really cheap compared to other transportation that people would be paying 6 times that much or 7 times that much.
Mm-hmm. I did like the dollar with the 2 quarters.
Yeah.
Is that it, Remy?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, if the board doesn't have any more questions for me or Shalonda, or Valerie or Kat, just wanted to.
Okay, thank you. All right, next we have the executive director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to update the board briefly on a number of issues that are here, and then a couple that are not here. We have Mike Banker here, so I want to kind of introduce him to give him an update on a couple conversations we've had with Buddy Card as well as the city of Pooler. But before we do that, in terms of our ridership was up 10% on the fixed route services for the month. Productivity was up 6%. On-time performance was still at 78% with the hopes. As you know, we're planning on trying to get that number up around 90%. So we're still shooting to increase the quality of that service. The complaints were up from 5.24 to about 8 per 100,000 passengers. Theoretically, anything below 10 is a good number, but that is an increase in terms of what we have been at. Safety, the number is down from 2 preventable accidents to 1, and then our fare box recovery is down 11%, and it's kind of what we had explained in the previous month in terms of agency revenue compared to cash that's in the fare box. On the paratransit side, ridership is up 13%. Productivity was down slightly from 1.58 passengers per hour to 1.52. On-time performance went from 92 to 91%. Complaints were down slightly from 13 to 10, and then the rest of the numbers were the same as the previous month. The ferry operation, marine services were up 9%. Overall, we're still up 5% across all modes of service year to date. Couple things is we've had our first business advisory committee meeting. The bylaws and rules were reviewed by the business advisory committee with no comments or questions raised at the time. The board, the business advisory committee did nominate and select Charles Bolden as the chair of the business advisory committee, and Monifa Johnson as the vice chair of the business advisory committee. For the transit advisory committee, they held their meeting, and Mr. Austin was selected as the chair, and Ms. Ella Estrada was the vice chair. And Mr. Austin is here, and I'll give him a moment to say a few words. But the committee looked at the Transit Advisory Committee handbook, had a few comments or suggestions. We're given copies of the TDPs and brought a couple of items up for staff to review. And Ms. Austin would like to have something to say briefly before.
I just want to thank everybody for bringing me aboard. I'm interested in the overall plight of our information that's needed. I'm reading, and we are going to be very active in supporting those things for the chairman and executive director. So as soon as possible, I'd like to have an opportunity to meet with both of our executive director and the chairman so that we can get on to do our annual goals as proposed in our workbook. Thank you.
Thank you, Lon.
One of the things that's in here in terms of financial update, we kind of talked about it at the last board meeting, and I'm bringing it up again, and I'm highlighting it in this session. One of the things that we talked about and have talked about since October is that Congress finally did pass a budget in December. However, the funds for the budget have not been allocated so that the transit authorities can draw it down. The issue for CAT becomes a cash flow issue, particularly going into February and March, given that the funds for the budget year we should have been able to start the budget year, the federal budget year started in October. So we're in the middle to the end of January at this point, and those funds are still not available for CAT to begin to drawing down, which is going to create some cash flow and cash situations for us. We're putting together some steps internally to help get us through the cash flow difficulties, but I wanted to bring the board up to date on that. We'll discuss it further in the finance committee. But again, it's very likely we're in a situation where CAT is not in a budget situation, given that the budget ends June 30th, but money comes in the May and June, and so you end the year out, it looks like you made your budget number, but you struggle for 3 or 4 months in terms of being able to manage cash.
And there's nothing we can do about that.
So it's difficult at this point, but we've got to find a way to be able to work through. And Terry and I may be calling upon some board members in terms of some ideas, and we're putting some things together internally to kind of address some of the cash flow issues. But it's going to be critical February, March, and April.
Should we be prepared that we may have to tap our line of credit again?
We don't have a line of credit to tap, so it's tapped.
And it's not.
With the debt restructure, the note totaled 5, and the line of credit was 1.5. We made a $750,000 reduction in December to get to those levels, so it is at $1.5 million, and we won't be able to reduce it until the June tax season.
We reduce the overall level of credit that we can tap into as part of our debt restructuring plan. So we don't have any debt, and we made a commitment we're not going to add debt. So it's just one of the realities we're facing that we have to look into and do. Mike, I know, can you want to give us an update in terms of what's going on in Atlanta, as well as our conversation with some of the West Side communities and our new congressman?
Sure, I'll be glad to. Thank you, Chad. As you all know, the General Assembly is in session. They went in last Monday, worked all of 4 days. They are on a budget break right now, looking at appropriations. One of the key things that is going to drive this session is going to be the recommendations of the Joint Transportation Study Committee and determining just how the state is going to fund much needed transportation improvements moving forward. Everybody was looking for the governor to provide some guidance in what he would accept and would not accept, but he has been rather coy in not showing his hand and publicly stating he is willing to let the legislature do what it does. He has always worked very well with the legislature. There was a transportation committee meeting that was scheduled on this past Thursday. However, it was canceled Thursday morning because the House had not made all of their appointments to the Transportation Committee. So we're assuming that once we get back up there next Monday, that particular meeting will be scheduled, and perhaps we can see some light about what they are going to be doing. A number of things are on the table. One is the possibility of a statewide sales tax with the proceeds being dedicated to transportation. One is to take the 4th penny of sales tax, which currently goes to sales tax on motor fuel, which currently goes to the general fund, and bring that back into the DOT and dedicate those numbers. A second proposal, and one that has a good bit of traction but has a bit of controversy connected to it as well, is to take the local option sales taxes that are charged for motor fuel taxes and to convert that to an excise tax, which means that money would be diverted from the myriad of local option sales tax projects and go to the state DOT. Part of the argument is that local governments are collecting that money, but they are not spending that for transportation projects, and it should be spent for transportation projects. That sounds somewhat mild, but when you start looking at the things that are going to be impacted with that, there's a very large impact. There is some discussion about possibility setting aside a $100 million pot of money for transit within the state, with a $40 million carve-out to make MARTA whole, to replace the penny MARTA tax that would not be collected if this happens. So there are a number of things that are swirling around. None of them are actually on paper. Now, to bring this closer to home, Chad and I did meet with new Representative Buddy Carter on January the 2nd. He understands that the role that he is playing now as a congressman is very different than the role he played as a state representative or a state senator, whereas he was steadfastly not supportive of expanding CAT into the West Side communities. He now understands that that's critical from a congressional viewpoint in terms of moving people to jobs through the community. He also understands that we have needs for him to sign off on things that CAT needs from the federal level, from the federal DOT. So we have a very good dialogue with him, had a very good meeting with him as well. Immediately following that, we met with the mayor of Pooler and Steve Wall, one of the aldermen as well, not in an attempt to convince them on what they should or should not do, but to make sure that they had a very clear understanding of what the situation was with the CAT law as it stands now, with basically the rulings that Legislative Council made last year, the findings that our council had made, and the affirmation of that by the county attorney, that the opt-out is unenforceable, and to lay out to them what our plans were moving forward in terms of moving forward with legislation. They understood. We have a very good dialogue. The door is open. They don't agree with it. Here again, we were not trying to get them to agree with it. We were trying to let them understand the framework that we were operating with and why. We are going to be following through with meetings with the mayor of Port Wentworth and the mayor of Bloomingdale as well to do the same thing. Last Thursday, we did obtain 2 pieces of legislation from the county that we have placed in Senator Les Jackson's hands. We have not met because this came through Thursday, got it in his hands late Thursday, and everybody went home. We have not reviewed this in total. We will be talking about that in a short while to understand what the legislation says and what direction the county has recommended. Then we'll sit down with Senator Jackson, and then ultimately that will have to go to Legislative Council to be put into the proper legislative form before it is introduced. So that process is underway. We're at the beginning of that process. Also, the disabled taxi cab legislation, we were working to get that introduced, and I met with Senator Vincent Fort, who was one of the sponsors of the excise tax legislation that we talked about and pursued last year. He is going to reintroduce that particular legislation, and we have pretty good hopes that we will be able to move forward with that pretty expeditiously. So that's where we stand. We're at the beginning of a long-haul marathon. It is not going to be an easy session. You will hear a lot about transportation, and at the end of the day, we probably won't know exactly what this package is going to look like until the last couple of days of the session, which probably will be the end of March, 1st of April.
We have 8 legislators from our area.
Yes.
How many of them are any of them on the Transportation Committee?
Bob Bryant.
Bob Bryant?
Bob Bryant is on the Transportation Committee.
Okay. And
he is very supportive of our issues. Yes.
Just let us know what we can do to help.
We will. Very definitely will. We're going to need to have communications directly with all of the members of our delegation.
And the chairman will be there for our meetings with Fort Wentworth and Bloomingdale, and assuredly we won't have any problems.
Chairman's going, I won't go.
Listen, although I'm friendly with all of the other cities, and I've helped them, the municipalities, on a number of issues when I was chairman of the county commission and all of that, and even lobbied for some of them before I was on Savannah City Council and the county commission. So, but that situation about the the opt-out and a number of those on the west side, they just feel that they, that the people in their district do not want to pay for the cost factors for them to be able to have the transportation into their cities.
Okay. Comment. I'm sorry. Two. Well, one is a question and then one is a comment. The question on the transportation at the state level, do they provide funds for MARTA?
I believe they do not. They provide funds for Greta. Right. In the tune of many $1 million, but they do not provide direct funding for MARTA.
Okay, because I could never get anybody to straighten me out.
They have in the past, but they have not in recent years.
The way the MARTA, they don't provide funds. The funds come from Fulton County to Cobb County. However, the state legislature has set up rules by which the funds can be used. So MARTA has a requirement that allows certain funds to be set aside for operating and certain funds to be set aside for capital. The issue they faced over the years is they need to loosen up some of their capital funds because they can get capital funds from the federal government, but they always have a shortage of operating funds. And the state has been reluctant to do that because they're concerned about the overall infrastructure. And so that's where the issue becomes. So MARTA has their own committee at the state level.
Okay, and my next statement is relative to the areas that opted out of the transit taxes and so forth and so on. Every meeting I've gone to for the past, I don't know how many years, even up to today, those same people that paid for the, helped pay for the spots for the roads that went and supported the roads for those same areas that are now enjoying the luxury of the growth of the people that those are the people we're talking about. And so just want to keep that in front of you and on your minds that we're just not just talking about anybody, we're talking about people who are already supporting the roads and they're now asking for some help with transportation to help them get to some of the jobs that we were hoping that would facilitate, from having better roads and transportation in the area. That's where the concerns are. Okay?
Bill?
Yeah, I was just going to ask a couple of questions. Mike, it appears as though much of the discussion is about how to fund additional monies going into transportation. Yeah, my question to you is there a back conversation going on about when these additional monies come in, what will the distribution look like in terms of including public transportation?
There are myriad back conversations going on. In fact, I am aware of a couple of meetings that were held prior to the session that were supposed to involve a couple of elected officials and wound up including 20 plus to talk with some opinion makers about how they view, external opinion makers, about how they view the debate and what direction perhaps they should go in. There are probably as many stories with that as there are members up there. The simple answer to that is there is going to have to be some determination made, particularly on how funding is going to be coming through transit. Airports are in that mix as well, and you have the Metro Atlanta, rest of the state divide. You also have the focus now on the precipitous growth in the port, and that being funded by the state cannot stand alone and throw the burden of improved transportation to get those containers from the port to the markets. So while there is a lot of attention on what do you do about the interchange in Macon, what do you do about trying to get around Atlanta, focus now is coming to, what do you do about Savannah? What needs to be done to facilitate moving this stuff in the most expeditious and safe manner?
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about sort of the decision on the port, having those kinds of ramifications. Just a comment is, for years, sitting on this board, whenever we would, approve, purchasing these new lifts, for instance, it was always, 80% federal, 10% local, and 10% state. And the state walked away from that years ago. And it just seems imperative that consciousness be re-injected into the conversation with respect to the allocation of, the new transit funds that are going to be coming down the pike. The state has basically walked away from transit, so I think it's really important. And I know you know that.
I think the state leadership on these committees recognizes the value of alternate modes of transportation, i.e., let's get out of our motor vehicle and get into something else. Part of this shift has to do with the new management at MARTA and the fact that they were the redheaded stepchild for so many years, and now they are the fair-headed favored son. And so the state is talking about releasing the 50-50 shackles that have been on them permanently, not on a 1 year or 3 year basis. And evidence within that is discussion about even a set aside of $1 million, let aside $40 million. 4 to 5 years ago, the attitude would have been, MARTA, sorry, we're not going to let you collect that tax on that item. You figure it out. So there's a shift in the perception of transit and in the support for transit up under the Gold Dome, which is a positive thing for all of the transit systems in the state.
And with respect to sort of our local issue with expansion and the like, has there been any discussion with respect to this new Daimler van plant that's being discussed, or the possibility of their locating here? Is that within the current service district, the mega site?
I do not know. I believe it's in Pooler, so it would not be.
Yeah, help me out here, but I just can't understand why local officials can get really excited about the possibility of a plant like that locating itself here, and at the same time, being against providing public transit, to a site like that, because that's what, the people who are making the decisions about the location of that plant, they're going to be looking at public transit and the access that potential workers will have to work there. And it's cutting your nose to spite your face. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, it's time to move from a provincial viewpoint to a more community and regional viewpoint. And things such as Daimler could help move that issue along.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Howard, what you?
It's just a comment to sort of follow something that Bill said. I think part of the resistance from the West Side communities, and I understand it being a West Side citizen, is that they're looking at the property tax owners that vote them in the elections. And Pooler for example, is a car culture. And I think the people in Pooler don't need, or probably don't want, a transit system. They're not looking at the other side of it, which is the people coming into the jobs. At the new outlet centers they're making coming in.
Conversation.
And the second part of that conversation is if you provide jobs to a lot of people in other parts of Chatham County, that may help all the other costs associated with living in Chatham County, such as crime and jail, go down. And so nobody, I think, is connecting both halves of this picture. They're only looking at the fact that my residents have cars, and we're not worried about us. So I think we need to get that somehow into our message, so they think at it as a different side.
And I think that was one of the things that we met with them, Mike and I, when we were trying to deliver, because we, in the context of the meeting, we quickly came to that scenario that it's not a request by your residents, but it is a request by the businesses in this community, because they're concerned about how they're going to get employees. It is a concern by the major employers in the area whose employees can't go to lunch because it takes 30, 45 minutes to go to lunch. Just in pure transportation costs because your roadways are already clogged up. And kind of the backstory is they've set up agreements with all of these developers and major businesses where they're not a part of their tax base at all. So they don't benefit the communities that these major companies or corporations in. They aren't drawing property taxes or sales taxes or anything that helps benefit that community other than the fact that it's located there. And so their viewpoint is we don't benefit anything economically from it. There's no economic benefit to us, and now you want to come in and tax our residents. So it is a double hit. It's more use on our infrastructure, which we don't benefit, we can't write off, and then our citizens not have to pay more. So in the context of trying to tie it all together, those were the conversations we were having and the line that we were moving along in terms of how do we sell it more in terms of a community benefit with all the subsequent things that go into place there.
And at the end of the day, it is a community benefit. It's not a Pooler benefit, it's not a Savannah benefit, it's the whole community that has to benefit from public transportation.
And the way that most of the big businesses there, what happens, Savannah Economic Development Authority, they help them with different things for that particular site they go into and they collect money from that particular industry or business, and for a period of time, like 5 or 10 years, whatever it might be, and then that money reverts over to, if it happens to be, the city of Savannah, where they are they in some other area, then that money is supposed to go to that particular city where they are located. So, in other words, if they have, they owe, they're paying, say, CETA $2 million a year, that $2 million, well, then will go to that particular city that they're there. It's split up between the city, the county, and the school board. And then you do have some that are only would go to the school board in that particular city that they are located. Anyway, us working on this and all, I think it can make a big difference, because when they understand that Savannah Economic Development Authority, after those number of years that the agreement has been made, that comes into a portion of that comes right into their city to help them. See, and that is another selling point for us. Wayne?
I was just going to ask, is there a group similar to like the Downtown Business Association in the Pooler area that could be our ally? Because we talked about the large businesses and being able to get the employees in, but also your customer base. I mean, those small and medium-sized businesses are benefiting by being able to get more customers in.
There is an active Pooler chamber, and I think that's a very good idea to reach out to them and sit down with them and have the same discussion that we've had with the mayor and the alderman, which basically is this is how we are going to proceed, and you have the potential of getting representation on the board. The county can act with or without that, and it really would be in your best interest to support this as we move forward.
Well, they may treat us as being suspect, but when they hear from the local business owners that we need to be able to get more customers in here, that's going to be more genuine than maybe.
Very true. Very good point.
Anything else for him? Okay, thank you very much for that good report that you got and working on those things.
Mr. Chairman, yes, one last thing, and Mr. Roper, one thing that's of interest, some of those sprinters that they make or will make are used as part of the public transportation system, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
But one of the things that we're looking at is doing this analysis in terms of the routing, scheduling, how things would look, and we'll be meeting. We will be working with Cutter, the people who did our TDP, to do that analysis in terms of the expansion into the west side area. So we'll be meeting this week in terms of putting together a scope of services and defining the work and the parameters.
This is great. Florida.
Yes,
Anything else?
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Next, under item 6, the unit updates, and this is information only. And the first is safety and training update.
The safety and training update is in your packet, and I'll entertain any questions you may have.
And if we could do this, Chad, for example, that says Unit 6, but over here it's under Unit 5 as far as information concerning that particular issue. You see what I'm saying? In other words, right now it's unit updates information only.
Yes, sir.
So if there's something that you need to put in there, maybe have that in 6 instead of 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
On that? All right. Next, service and delivery update.
The service and delivery packet is in your report. I'll entertain any questions you may have. One of the things to note is a highlight in terms of our ferry operation. We carried about 9,000 more passengers ferry operation. And one of the notes here is the day after Christmas this year was 70 degrees, and we carried over 4,000 people on that day alone on ferry operation. So,
let me ask you, because I've seen some, but do all the ferries really have enough information or sign on there that states this is this is CAT?
I'm not sure that it's listed boldly anywhere on there that it's operated by Chatham Area Transit.
Well, I think let's see about getting that done, because that helps us, in the, for people knowing that, even local people knowing those ferries belong to CAT. And that's in there, and Chatham Area Transit Authority, but put that logo on their CAT, because that's been going on for a number of years, and that really helps out. So some people that are in organizations that go, that are over at the Trade Center, they think that those ferries belong to the Trade Center. But and let's get that done as soon as we can, because I think that's a help us. Even those people that are on those boards understand that situation, because it's good for them. It's good for the whole community. Okay.
Can I ask just one question on that? Do you mind?
Yes, go ahead.
I see our Airport Express ridership is down. Does that normally happen in December, or? It's where you talk about the individual routes.
Well, it's kind of hard to say what is normally happening, because we don't have a long history with it to.
No, just a 28% drop in 1 month for the month of December. I don't know, maybe people
It's
travel
only our
in December.
second December operating it. So.
Okay.
Could that be, Bill, because there might be less people because they're home for the Christmas and and things like that? That possibly be?
Just a big drop.
And see on that, please, Chad.
Yes, sir.
So that we can have that.
I think the bigger drop is the Abercorn Express, which just never seems to post anything in the way of ridership.
Well, that's because the Abercorn Express is only the same in terms of destination and name only. It's a completely different route. The old Abercorn Express used to go down Abercorn, and it was intermingled with the regular Abercorn 14. Now, of course, it jumps on the freeway and goes south. So it's a lot less steps. It's a lot faster and quicker.
But it's not carrying anybody.
Right. That's the one that we talked about. We got to do some enhanced marketing on coming up, targeted marketing in terms of being able to build up the ridership on that route. because at some point, if we're not able to build a ridership, we're gonna have to.
Stop it. Was my point. I mean, that's pretty.
Yeah, 'cause that makes sense.
Okay. System development update.
The system development update is in your report, and I'll entertain any questions you may have.
One question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't see the mention made of the tour that we took.
That was from last month.
Okay.
December from last month, so it will be on your January.
Could be on the January.
Okay, next, financial update.
The financial update is in your packet, and I'll entertain any questions you may have on that.
Look it over, because this is very important, this particular item. So if there's any questions, Bill?
I thought it was great, the savings that we had on gas, on fuel savings.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's hope it keeps going, because I saw there was one advertisement that showed that the gas was like $1.40 a gallon, one place. But that was just one place, you know, it wasn't like the whole cities and counties. Yeah.
And as you can see, in terms of our payment, in terms of our cash flow, the good news is we're not carrying $7+ million. The bad news is we don't have cash.
Terry, what's the one question though? In most cases, it looks like the wages are over, but then the benefits are under.
Correct. That's more of budget modeling quirk, so to speak, and we plan on smoothing that out in the budget amendment that should be coming up either next month or the month after. We wanted to get a good 6 months worth of data before we amended the budget in hopes of only amending the budget once this year.
The materials and supplies is scary.
It's down this month, and it was more volume of purchases in the maintenance department. I've looked at the December and also the current month's numbers, and that trend appears to be holding somewhat. So hopefully we'll have some permanent pickup in that negative variance.
What I'd like, well, I'll get to this in a minute then. Anything else on financial update?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, next, old business.
I don't have no old business to discuss, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone here on old business? Okay,
Mr.
new
Chairman?
business. Excuse me.
May I ask something?
Sure.
Could I ask Dr. Reese what transpired after last month's meeting, and I introduced the idea of trying to get some kind of disinfectant in the bus.
Oh, we haven't moved on it yet.
We have,
I saw that was one of the comments in the Transit Advisory Committee.
we have, we are having a hard time with the flu in the area, and we got hospitals that are telling people, well, it's hard for us to take care of you right now. We've got so many customers, so to speak. And I can't help but think of our buses seem to be places where viruses just keep generating. And for instance, I'd like to ask how often, if ever, does someone go through the bus with a disinfectant rag and wipe pull cords? And I say that because I think of even in a 24-hour period, how many people are riding that bus and pulling and touching, and our hands are one of the main reasons that we pass germs. I just think it'd be something valuable to look at, and I think also it would be a plus for Chatham Area Transit to say, hey, here's something we're doing to help the community.
Okay. Good, so we take that, and thank you for being on the Transit Advisory Committee also. Okay? You made a note of that.
Yes, sir.
Some
I am.
people did. Okay, under new business.
Yes, new business, wanted to talk briefly as a follow-up to our system development meeting. We talked about the potential relationship between Savannah, Chatham County Schools, and CAT. And we have Mr. Robinson here, who's County and CAT's lead in this process. And I know he has a guest he wants to introduce to kind of talk through what we looked at in the program, where we are, and some of the options that we have on the table.
So I do have a PowerPoint here, and just in the essence of time, I'll kind of go through specific points in the PowerPoint. I want to also introduce Tammy Perkins, who's standing behind me, or she's sitting behind me, to my right, who is with Savannah Chatham County Public Schools in the Executive Services. Is that correct? Executive Support Services. And so we initially had these conversations that probably date all the way back to January of last year, and where we were trying to come up with some, just kind of throw it on the wall and see what sticks as it relates to trying to integrate Savannah Chatham County Public Schools into utilizing the CAT services. From what I understand, and just kind of talking to people who've been around here for quite some time, this used to be something that took place where CAT was working with Savannah Chatham County Public Schools in regards to providing certain services. So it was kind of an interesting conversation to kind of hear that that's something that happened previously, that now you're kind of looking at it again, or what possibilities are out there now. So just some of the background, we got together with Savannah Chatham Public Schools, and they had a couple of high schools that they wanted to pilot. The two schools that they were looking at for piloting was Beach and Island High Schools. So what we did was we worked with Savannah Chatham County Public Schools. We got some demographic data as it relates to the students at those schools, and we overlaid our own system to kind of see how close some of those students were in regards to where they lived, and then how would our services as it is today get them to and from Beach High School. Again, there was a pilot program, and we did focus on Beach, and we focused on Island. And this is something that you see already. So this is currently on our website, where we do show the high schools, and we show which routes are actually associated with the high schools. One thing that you can see is that every single high school, with the exception of New Hempstead, has services that directly service Savannah Chatham County Public High School. In some cases, there are 2 routes. Some cases, there are 4 routes.
And Groves is on what street?
Priscilla D. Way. Priscilla D. Thomas Way.
Didn't know what street that was on.
So Priscilla's there a lot of times to direct traffic.
One of the things to point out is we did
that painting on it.
We did kind of look at all the high school kids, and we kind of, if you look at that blue line, this map here, you kind of see a buffer of our services, and then all the high school kids within the district. And one thing that we can tell you is that roughly about 56% of the kids live within the CAT service district, which is more than half. So, in looking at Island High School, we identified 918 total students. 675 of these students live within the school boundary, meaning, they're zoned for Island High School. 243 of them are outside of the school boundary, meaning they live in another school boundary. And 105 of them are transported kind of outside of altogether. So if you look at that, again, we're talking about a significant amount of the kids that actually live within the transit boundary of a route that goes directly to their school every day. In this case, it would be Route 10.
Let me add, glad to have you here representing our school system. Can it be placed in like when they have general assemblies and all, and some way of communications to let the students know that we've got these, each particular school, that they have that information about, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 bus routes that that service that particular area, and I think that will help out, because a lot of times students are looking ways to go someplace, and if they see that they've got that information and it's a low cost for them just to catch a bus and go to those places, I think that would help the students, and of course that would be a positive for CAT.
Yes, we certainly agree with that. And working with Mr. Robinson, some of the benefits of the Student Pass program would be our parent and student information. They would provide the services on how the students would actually utilize the buses, how they would know where to get on the bus, what times. So that would be information sessions that we would offer for the students as well as their parents. And as you said, the benefit to not only to get to school, but those after-school programs that they may have to attend. A lot of our students are focused on athletic events, so they could stay after school and then catch a bus home later. Weekend programs where they may need to have transportation on the weekend. So those benefits of the Student Pass program, we would be able to communicate that with them.
And that's really good, because you might have some students, you know, that want to participate in some of the athletic programs and all, and because they don't have transportation, you know, they just can't go into the school athletic program. So thank you very much for that, because we want CAT to work along with the school system and all, and to help both us and the school system. Thank you.
This is just kind of an overview of Beach High School. So they had 855 total students. 737 of the students were inside the school boundary. 118 of the students were outside the school boundary, with 34 transported inside. So the two routes that we will be able to utilize, the Route 12, which operates on a 30-minute frequency during peak, and Route 25, which also operates a 30-minute frequency during peak. So in the case of these two pilot schools, if there were some type of option to say, well, you know, we just initiate some type of pass for the students, in which Savannah and Chatham County Schools issued the passes and the students were able to utilize the bus, that's something that could be utilized right now with our existing services without having to make any changes outside of just adding a student pass.
Okay.
And that very thing that you talked about with the information, so this is kind of a modified version of the presentation that we made to the Savannah Chatham County Public School Board. We did talk about what the outreach activities would have to be in regards to, in our case, our marketing, business development, community outreach, Valerie, Shalonda, and Catherine, kind of helping with being able to get certain information and educating the students and parents on this. So our trip planner, and this kind of all goes back to that whole marketing, image, connecting the dots. This is our technology that we have right now as it relates to being able to plan out a trip for a student. So what our guys would be to educate the parents as well as the students, but most of the students actually know how to use this, on how a trip would actually be for them if they were to utilize the system from their home address to their school. And then we would then educate them on, you know, ridership etiquette, how this works, how do you ride the bus if you've never ridden it before, this is how the fare works, here are the rules of being able to ride. So all of that would kind of be initiated with that. And then this kind of gives you options, and it gives the parents options where they might say, well, we might want to drop our kid off or our child off at this stop where we know to pick up this bus, and then they can utilize it to get to school without, you know, having to utilize me driving all the way to school, or if there were no bus services there available for them. Now, the way we've been engaging this so far has really been at a level that is more about us keeping our service integrity the way that it is, and kind of integrating the students into the culture of being able to ride CAT. Now, there are some other options that you can begin to talk about and engage, but they have some different far-reaching conversations that would need to be had as it relates to our ability to be able to sustain that type of service with the increases that could be associated with that. And I think, you know, Dr. Reese will probably bring more, as these conversations continue. I think we want to kind of have a starting place where I think we have a good one, but if it grows to bigger conversations, that's definitely going to be some decisions that need to be made. And I think there's some positives there. There's some really community driven benefits there. There's some really good image enhancement there, but there are also the efficiency aspects and us wanting to make sure that we apply this properly so that it works too. Any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead, Alan.
An hour, I think I saw it looked like an hour and 25 minutes is kind of the average time to get the kids to school.
Mm-hmm. And right now, based on what I was told, in some cases that's what it takes on the school bus.
Because high school starts early, right?
I'm glad you asked that question. The reason we focused on beach and islands for our initial pilot, those two high schools, along with New Hampstead High School, are part of a district's pilot to have our high schools switch times. So those two schools are actually starting later. They're on an elementary start time, so they do start at 8:30. And that was part of the design and using them as a pilot because they did fit into what would be CAT's off-peak period, which is why those were as a pilot for the high schools. So for those two schools, they do start much later than our other high schools.
So the time, from a student standpoint, the hour and a half is not dramatically different than he spends now?
Not at this time. Those two schools also offer what the district refers to as specialty or magnet programs. So students are attending from outside what would normally be the attendance zone for those schools. So they do realize that they will have a longer riding time to get to the school when you live in an area that is outside that school's boundaries.
So if you're outside the attendance zone, you have to provide your own transportation?
Currently,
No?
the district provides transportation when you participate in that program.
Okay.
And Mr. French, I think the article that I sent you showed that that particular school district, if they're part of a magnet school program, they're responsible for providing their own transportation. And the school district has an agreement with the transit authority to allow them to use that as an option.
Right. I remember the article. I was just kind of surprised that for a student bus takes so long. Because I remember when I was in school, riding the bus was a fairly quick ride to school. I was kind of surprised that it takes that long.
But
Students in the
It just
neighborhood.
felt that way because the horses were pulling the
I can also tell you if they had this program when I was in school, we would have all cut class in the afternoon and taken the bus somewhere else.
Yeah. And I guess, and one thing I think Tammy was about to point out is that the kids that are outside of the neighborhood school, it could take upwards to an hour and a half. But the kids that are actually within the zone, so let's say for the kids that actually go to beach, that live within Route 25 or Route 12, that's 30-minute service. We're talking maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, so that's great.
It works out, and it's already, the infrastructure is in place. It's just a matter of shifting. Yeah.
Will the kids within the zone have to go through the transit center, or they'll just be on the bus and all?
It depends. Some of the kids that live along Henry Street would basically get on one bus and get off. Some of the kids that are along on 25 MLK, they'll just basically go from their home to the school and get off. I mean, now there will be some opportunities for transferring if there need be for some of those kids, but for those that live in close proximity to the school, it's highly unlikely. It's really just about making sure that you match up with the existing bus schedule that we have and getting on the bus.
And to that end, if you come here in the morning time on the platform, you see a ton of kids. So we already have a number of kids who use the bus to get to and from school, particularly if their parents use public transit.
Bill?
I think one of the really interesting aspects of this, that when you alluded to the after-school programs and kids being involved in athletics and that kind of thing, and some weekend programs and the like, for which the school bus isn't typically available. I think that could be a real bonus, and something I really hadn't thought that much about.
Okay. That it?
That's it.
Okay. Thanks again for you coming here.
Thank you.
And we want to work as well as we can with the school system. So a lot of advantages, as I said, both ways. And we will want to take and continue to take a positive, step towards this. Thank you. All right. Anything else, Chad?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else on new business for any of our members?
Just a follow-up on the bus service. What would be the target date for this? Next year?
Yes, we are targeting a form of transportation services with CAT for some of our schools.
Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you all for coming today for our January 20th agenda for the Chatham Area Transit Authority. We appreciate the guests here today and all, and the meeting is now adjourned, and I think we've got our all of the food in there for your partaking. How you doing, Jay?
I don't.
Oh, hey.
You look good. That wasn't for you to make.
I'll tell you, really,
Let's go to train.
on that bus, going somewhere else.
I appreciate it.
I'm sure the school bus you were
got
in.
Hey, Curtis. Think of that group they talked to me about. This is going to be a deal, but well, I just heard about to make all right. Yeah, because that's